Good evening to all of you. Before we start today's session, please feel free to do event check-in. This will give you access to additional resources and information about events that we are running on Reactor, which are around similar topics to today's session. Also, you will be able to access links from today's session. I will share the event check-in link and the event ID in the Q&A section shortly again. We have launched our Reactor group on our LinkedIn. Please feel free to join the group to get the latest update on session happening on Reactor. I will share the joining link soon. Thank you all once again for joining us today. My name is Rashmita and I'm the event planner for Microsoft Reactor Bengaluru, India. The session will run over the next 120 minutes, including Q&A. The session is being recorded and will be uploaded to our Reactor YouTube channel. I will share the link to our YouTube channel in the chat section. Quick word on a code of conduct. We display this at all Microsoft Reactor events that we run, and it's just a reminder to be aware of others. Key thing to take out here is to be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. I would now like to welcome Vivek, our speaker for today's session. Vivek is a tech enthusiast and an open source contributor with around 15 years of experience in the software industry. He works at Microsoft as a senior cloud advocate. But for now, I will hand over to Vivek to begin the session. Over to you, Vivek.
Thanks, Rashmita. Just give me a minute to let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so what we have today is there are a couple of things Rashmita did mention the check-in. So please go ahead and do the check-ins. And do tweet about the event. Do let us know what you have been learning and you know something which we very value because if you get to know what you're learning through our sessions, it obviously motivates us to do more sessions and access content. And this content is anyways available in the check-in. So do check in and you get those links. So please make sure that you do it and definitely join our LinkedIn group, which is there. Anyways, we are going to share those links while I'm delivering talk. Rashmita will share those links, and there is YouTube channel. And on 8th October, we have Kubernetes for all. I'm looking forward to that session, which is next week. It's next Azure Happy Hour, and it's full of hands-on session, and completely related to Kubernetes. So do join in if you're interested in learning end-to-end of the Kubernetes, because I'm just trying to take that 2 hours of session with everything related to Kubernetes, from ingress to a lot of other things. For details, session details, and anyway, share you the GitHub repo. You can take a look at it. But the most important thing which I just wanted to call out is we are looking for top talent, basically in India global delivery with skill set of cloud and .NET backgrounds, and definitely you can take a look at it. I'll share these links while just after my talk. Just I'm going to share these links where you can go and apply for this role. And by the way, tomorrow we have a workshop by the team. The India Global Delivery team is going to be there, and you can check out the meetup.com and go to the meetup.com events list and the reactor. So, and you can see that it's been listed out there. That team is meeting there, and they're going to talk about what they do and how they do it, and they do hands-on workshops and other things, and they're going to talk about the role which is there. Just do join in that role so that you can definitely get benefited out of that. At least you will know what kind of work they are doing as well. Coming back to this session, so this is what we started 2 weeks back, DevOps workflow with Kubernetes in production, how to build it. That was the discussion we were having. And from last 2 weeks, we defined what is DevOps, was our first session, and and then last session was more about Docker. We almost did everything from a Docker perspective, not just registry, but also we did networking and other things. So video is there. I will be updating. I could not update my GitHub repo, but I'll be updating the GitHub repo with this session details as well. Mostly you'll have everything by Monday. This is the link for my GitHub repo, and if there's a QR code, you can definitely go back and take a look at it. The sessions are there, understanding of DevOps. So the plan was to understand the complete workflow in depth in 8-part series basically, and we have completed two, and we are almost done with everything. From today's session perspective, um, it's more of, it's not about individual components. It's about understanding how cloud plays a role in this. And for a DevOps engineer, what are those areas? What is that specific thing you need to know, and what are those areas you need to focus on while you are building something for a scalable model, right? So cloud plays a very important role. For all these, you need a cloud, and you definitely need to work on various aspects of cloud. Here, there is most of the things are not mentioned here, but at the back end, there's so many things related to cloud is integrating here, and we will see a couple of them. And I will. It's not. It's not like I will be covering everything related to Azure, and you go back and drive it, because I have somewhere around 140 plus services in Azure, so which is it's impossible to cover in one session, right? So what I'm picking is those areas which are very common to DevOps engineers, right? It's not like it's not specific to Azure as well. You can multi-cloud as well. It's the same concepts. So stay with me, and I will definitely show a couple of demos there. And most importantly, we need to understand is how exactly this Azure as a system, as a cloud as a system, is working together, right? So how do you access it? What are those access areas and other things? So let me go back and show you the how exactly it gets fit in, right? So there is this amazing document, and it runs through the resource access management, basically how exactly this all works in terms of manageability and execution and all those things. So whenever you work with a cloud, you get you're creating a resource in any cloud, right? So that means you're creating a virtual box, or you're creating a virtual network, or you are creating a storage account, or storages and other things. So very importantly, in Azure, this is called as resources, and everything you create is a resource in the Azure world. And just keep that in mind. And there is something called as resource group, and resource group is nothing but a logical grouping of these resources. So when you create a resource, it has to be attached to a resource group, and resource group is logically creating more resources. So uh, n number of resources can be part of the resource group which is there. Okay. um, so and it is attached to Azure Subscription. So when I say Azure Subscription, it is nothing but it's also a logical grouping, and this subscription is what you buy through the any kind of subscription is available for you. There are different models of subscription, pay as you go, and other things. And one of the questions you might get in Azure Fundamentals for AZ900 is what different kinds of understanding of different kinds of subscription plans which is there, pay as you go and other premium plans and other things which is there. And then um, you know it is also a logical grouping. So it is logically grouped. Azure subscription can have more number of resource groups, n number of resource groups can be part of it, and then these resource groups can have a number of resources. So that's how it is divided. So let us park this out and let's see how exactly Azure works, right? Um, so there is something called as Azure Resource Managers, which is nothing but a REST, API endpoint. So it is having an endpoint, and it is an API endpoint, and all you need to do is basically submit a request to this, and then it gets to the subscription, and then goes to the resource group, and then creates a resource under the resource group. So if the complete flow, if you see, and this is one of the questions as well. You know, the PowerShell, Azure Portal, and CLI are the three different clients which is available, and these clients are talking to the REST API, and then the REST API endpoint is going to the Azure Resource Manager, and from there it goes on to the Azure Subscription and resource groups and resources. And let us see how exactly it goes. And there is something called Azure Resource Provider for each of the resources which is available. When I say resources which is available, the resources are nothing but it could be VMs, it could be virtual network, it could be app services, it could be functions, Azure functions, Azure, different load balancers, anything, right? So there is three different client which is sending the information or request to the Azure Resource Manager, and from that Azure Resource Manager there is resource provider. It goes to the resource provider, required resource provider, and goes through the subscription and then to the resources. So this is how it works. Um, Simple command which is going through the API endpoint, and then there is Azure Resource Manager, and then there is I'm calling for to create a VM, and it is basically going to the VM resource provider, and then just goes and creates the resource under the subscription. But it does not work like this in a real world, right? In real world, there is something different, right? So why? Because it needs to verify if the request is right or wrong. If the person has, if the person who is requesting has all the rights to request all these resources, or to create a resource, or to make changes to the resource, all these information needs to be captured even before executing all these things, right? So whenever you make that request, it is going to go to the Azure Active Directory and verifies whether this person has kind of power or the role to do the activities on these Azure subscription. So each and every Azure Active Directory is having different tenants, and this is the tenant and associated tenant for that user. And it could be anything, it could be HR management tenant, and there could be engineering tenant, it could be production tenant. There is different kinds of tenants you create in Azure Active Directory, and you add the user into the right set of tenant, and whenever he runs those command, it verifies he is the person who is associated to this subscription, and yes, he has the permission to do stuff. Now, it's not just about he has the permission to do things, but does he has the role to do it? He's associated to this Azure Directory, but whether he has the role to do it, right? So there is role-based access control, which is um, controlling the access for this user, whether he can act on these accesses, right? And then there is policies, right? Whether he is able to go and edit it. Certain users, whether they can create or edit, or what they are. They are just viewing stuff. Their role is to view, or their role is to go back and just view and just can edit but can't create. So all these kind of policies, resource policies, you can create on top of this Azure subscription, right? So there is again resource limit that you cannot create more than these number of limit, these number of VMs or these number of other resources. You can put it in the policy and add it as a limit as well, and then run it as a thing. And then there is financial commitment and other things which is there, which will look into the finance things. So coming back to the overall thing, right? There is three different client, and there is Azure Resource Manager, who has been reached out whenever there is a command which is being executed by the user, and then there is Azure Active Directory, which verifies the user, and the user is part of the tenant and part of the Azure subscription as per the command which has been executed, and then it will verify whether this user has a role, and then verifies the policies and limit around this subscription, and also the whether there is financial limitations which we have added into the subscription. If everything is all fine, then there is resource which gets created. So that is what Azure Access Management is all about. So I've pretty much covered how Azure works, and how the portal is set up, and when you create something, how everything works, and what is the structure of this creation is all about, right? So from this, what we will do is, obviously we will create a VM and see how it works. But before that, I want to talk about the networking part of it. This is something which is very important for a DevOps engineers to understand. Right now, we just talked about how to manage these things, how this can be automated, this can be policies can be automated, verification of these policies can be put into the place. If you see this diagram where we have our last session, where we are going to put everything together, it has some kind of policies. So we'll define some kind of policies on top of Kubernetes production cluster when we deploy some code. That will be on the last session which we are going to drive for DevOps for all series. But these policies are not coming from these are Azure policies which I'm talking about. There are other policies for Kubernetes production deployments, which could be your deployment policies. It could be, it's not policy, it's called deployments anyways. That anyways we are going to see, try and see those things in the next session which we have, which is on 8th. Let me go back to network. So you know networking is such a important concept in while building all these things here. While I show everything here, I'm not talking about networking. I'm not talking about how these things talk to each other, and how monitoring information is pulled out, and how logging information is pulled out. Is it secure? How is it talking to each other, and how the cloud is structured around it, right? So but still it is required. It is the most important component of building your production. So I just want to give an introduction to virtual network and how exactly it is set up. So virtual networks are nothing but you go into probably you have a building with first floor, and then in first floor you have partitions, different rooms you have, probably different in a simple way I have to tell you is, it could be a workspace. It could be a workspace as in, I'm talking about co-working space with different startups sitting, and different startup has access to different spaces, and only these employees of these startups can log in here, and log in here, and log in there. So if I have to take this analogy and talk about virtual network, it is nothing but you're virtually creating a set of network, so that you can interact with different services, different boxes, also talk to the internet via the controlled manner, right? So you are controlling the network. You know the traffic, what traffic is coming in, what traffic is going out, everything. You have the details about it. So whenever you create something like a virtual network, each virtual network can have multiple subnets, and you can see this. So there are multiple subnets which has been created, and these subnets, access to these subnets is obviously controlled by network security groups. These are nothing but the ports which is opened, and other things which is attached uh, to the resources which you are using, which could be a VM I'm talking about, which is nothing but a network interface card which is there, which is attached to it, and network security groups. These are nothing but rules. These are inbound, outbound rules. What is an inbound rule? Inbound rule could be what is the incoming traffic to that particular VM? What is the outbound traffic from that VM? Sometimes the outbound traffic, you want to go to the internet and drive some, download something from internet or do something on internet. So for that, you might use NAT server and other things, NAT gateways on top of these, on top of these subnets, so that you can use the internet outbound from the VMs which is there. Otherwise, the VM is only internal to the virtual network and can be accessed within. And you can also see this, right? There is network. I'll anyways show you a demo of all this. We will create one virtual network and create VM and add all this stuff and see how exactly it all fits in. But just for understanding, network security group 1 and network security group 1 added into the same subnet with VM 1 and 2. So VM 1 and 2 can talk to each other because network security group is added to each other. So there is an inbound rule which can be done there, right? So these are the, this is the virtual network, how it looks, and we will see the demo. While we build this, we will also use load balancer just for understanding, as a DevOps engineer, you need to understand what is a load balancer is, why it is required. But from the context of the series which we are doing, which is DevOps for workflow, from a Kubernetes perspective, there are different things which is involved. Even though we are using load balancer, there are service discoveries need to be added and other things which we are going to discuss in the next session. But this for today's session, just remember that you have a load balancer attached just for the distribution of the traffic and distribution of any traffic. So basically TCP, UDP, any of those sessions, right? So any of those traffic which is coming in, you are using load balancer to, just to distribute the traffic between the different VMs which is there. And obviously, it is very clear, right? From the diagram, you can see whenever there is traffic is coming in, it will choose between these three VMs, and there is an algorithm. Load balancer algorithms are available, and there is a round robin algorithm and affinity algorithms. There are a couple of algorithms which is there, and it uses different algorithms, and you can choose which algorithm you want and then use those algorithms to run these load balancers. This is a public load balancer. There is an internal load balancer. When I say public load balancer, it is exposed to internet, and you can, while you are creating a load balancer, you can actually choose between these two. Either you want a public load balancer or you want a internal load balancer. So whenever you choose between these two, it will definitely generate with right set of things. And when it is internal load balancer, that means it is driving internal to the virtual network, and you can see this, it is not exposed to the, it is not exposed itself to the internet. So it is only working internally within the virtual network only, and through different subnet and through a router. So I'm not talking about router because let's not confuse ourselves. People who are first time sorry, first time seeing this might get confused from a router perspective. Router is nothing but you are choosing which route to take, which hop to take from an address space specific. So when you provide that routing table, when you provide the details in the routing table, it definitely takes different routes. Okay, so that's just keep that in mind, not to worry much about it. So there is virtual network, there is internal and a public port, public load balancer, and there are VMs you can attach to it and use it. But this is from the TCP or UDP, any of the service which is coming in, right? Any of the traffic which is coming in. But from an application gateway perspective, it is quite different. So the difference between a load balancer and an application gateway is these two are in different layers as well. You can see from the diagram, this is in layer 7, which is at the HTTP level, and the load balancer L4 is at the layer 4, which is from the transport layer, which is uh, TCP and UDP layer, right? So the if you see this diagram, right? So how exactly this is working, right? So you can basically see that if there is a URI which is slash images or slash videos, if you see this, it basically drives the traffic to the right set of servers, and that is the main usability of application gateway out, apart from SSL termination, and also growing it faster and other things. This is um, these are a couple of use cases of that, and it has definitely improved the performance of the service when you're using it for the HTTPS kind of an applications, specifically from if you're building something related to mobile app backends, or even the some microservice applications very specific to couple of a couple of services which has been added to that. So this is the use case, and this is the two difference between the layer application gateway and the load balancer. So you can choose between these two based on the use case you have. And there is another problem which you might face as a DevOps engineer, is having a uh, distributed system, right? So basically, you have hosted your service in India, in Bangalore, and maybe so your customer is sitting in US or Europe, and if they are trying to access your service, and a lot of images and a lot of other things which is there on your website, which are JSS, CSS, and JavaScripts, which are all client based. All those takes time to load, because your customers are sitting in quite far, right? They're in UK or Canada and other places. So you want to create a point of presence. You want to have an edge server which will load or which will cache the content, the content from a specifically if you see videos or the images which is there and other things, you want to cache it at in a certain places where your customers are you see that there is a lot of customers engagement is happening, right? So that is where the content delivery network is going to come in. There are different options you can choose from. You can also choose to geo termination as well, but you can choose to say these set of content is not supposed to be delivered in certain places, and that which country you don't want these set of services need to be placed, and you can just omit those countries. So all the things get cached in the content delivery network, and users get it fast, and whenever users go into your network or just not type in your domain, they get those data pretty fast. But then there is you keep changing your code, you keep adding stuff, so you can define when to cache, what is the time to cache, sorry. So when to cache, what is the time to cache, and all those details can be provided, and you can change those settings in the tool, and that's how you can use content delivery network. So there are a couple of things as a DevOps engineer you'll be doing, right? So there is planning, uh, how this content delivery network setup is working and everything. And it's not just planning, you'll also be doing a lot of automations around it. you're going to build automations around it. Whenever there is something which is new coming in, you want to build, you want to spin up a content delivery network and other things. From an application gateway as well, you want to make sure the setup is this, and you want to automate all these things whenever there's a new, whenever your application is down, or whenever your new application is coming in, and all this needs to be planned and set up in your automation script while you're building all these things. And we will go through a couple of things when we do the Terraform session. We'll try to build a couple of these things hands-on with Terraform, which is in a couple of weeks, which is it's coming strong. And other set of network which I just wanted to talk to you about is the newly one is Azure Front Door. This is something which is edge locations, right? So you see that very similar to what we have discussed, but it could be an edge location in the some part of the globe, and you can see different regions can be reached. And again, it is from a URI. Say for example, you're searching for search images videos something. It chooses the uh, right set of network, right set of regions where these data has been delivered, and then uses things and then delivers to the user. So it's a pretty interesting one. It's new, and do try it out. It's something which you need to understand as well. And I just want to give a little bit of intro to Firewall as well, where we can discuss about a couple of things. A firewall is nothing. You can see this. There is different virtual networks with different, different set of VMs are part of those virtual network. But to control, you can create a centralized, virtual network with firewall, and everything connects to this, and connection is going out of this. So you are actually maintaining one set of network, control network, in terms of managing your network connectivity between different units. That is also something which you can see. So I'll just go, and we'll go to portal. I'm going to the portal of Azure. I'm going to show you everything. From an as much as possible. Um, so let's first create a virtual network so that we'll understand from a virtual network creation perspective. Let us create a new virtual network. I already have one, but I'll create one just for understanding purpose. This is nothing but the, this is what we talked about, right? There is subscription, and then there is resource group, and these subscription are attached to a tenant, and then Azure, uh, you know, we call that Azure directory. So that is what you can see that, right? So DevOps for all is what I've created as a resource group, and we will say this is VNet 002, and some place wherever you feel it is good. It's fine here. Um, next. Okay, next. And I have this IP address space. So this is a space, it's nothing but it's the range of IP addresses you can assign within this virtual network. You can choose, you can basically change it and choose which one you are looking at. That is something which is there, and then there is a default subnet, which is you can see, and then there are a couple of other security things. Um, Machine host is nothing but it's basically you're logging into, you want to log into the virtual, you want to log into a virtual machine where whichever device which is attached to this virtual network, you want to log in through browser. That is where you're going to use this specific thing. So that is something which is there, and you can go through this. It's pretty interesting model. And then DOS protection, firewall, and other things. I'm not choosing those things, but this is what it is. And then you tag it, and then you go and create. So um, I'm just creating this. So we're going to create what we're going to do now is let's just create a network, create subnets, create a virtual box, create an ad server, create load balancers, and add everything together and see how exactly it works it's basically see how it creates a network diagram for us. And you can obviously improvise the diagram. This is just an example diagram which I'm looking at. So once it gets deployed, I will show you something very interesting, a diagram perspective. So let me go here, VNet 2, and this is the VNet 2, right? So when I go and type in diagram, if I click on diagram, so you can see that it shows me virtual network diagram with the default subnet which is there. Okay, now we are going to improvise this diagram. So how by adding more components into it. Let us go back, go to the resource, go to the subnet here. You can see subnet here, and when I go to the subnet, there is a default subnet which is already there. We'll create a new subnet, and when we are creating a new subnet, you can call it as a name, v subnet, uh, and NAT gateway. Why you're going to use NAT gateway? It's only because you know you want to attach it a new gateway on top of that subnet to just to talk to the external network, which is the outbound access to the internet. So if anything attached, if you create an NAT sub gateway and attach it to this subnet, all the machines which is there under this subnet, you know, get access to internet. So that's the main idea there. And I will not create any network security group or anything. Service endpoint is also something interesting which you need to understand, specifically from Azure perspective. It creates a service endpoint for the list of services which is available. So it could be you want to have a connectivity for this subnet, this devices attached within this subnet to talk to something from a talk to the Azure related services. You can actually go and create service endpoints and then use those service endpoints whenever you are creating the services. Okay, so that is something which you can create and see. And right now I'm going to um, share the subnet. Sorry. Okay, so we will create. This is actually wrong name. Let's just give a right name. Oh, I can't edit the name. Okay, let me create one more. Let me call it as backend. Okay, so the real use of these subnets, front end, we could have named it as one as the front end subnet, the other one as backend subnet. I've just chosen the different. Probably we can even choose the different. Um, it's already there. Maybe before. Okay, address, and this is the IP address space. So it's basically an address range. In fact, nothing to it. Just create one more. Okay, so we have created two things, two subnets here, and each of these subnets don't have um, any network security group or anything. So what we will do is we're going to add, you can see now, if we go and see the diagram, which is there, just click on the diagram. Now you can see we have default subnet and two subnets which we have, one for backend, one for vSubnet. Okay, Let us go back and to dashboard and to my all resources. Um, VNet 2. Okay, so in VNet 2, what we can do is um, we will go back and create the NAT gateway. Okay, so this is NAT gateway, and we'll create a NAT gateway server. So very similar to that, the same things, NAT gateway name, VNet, uh, NAT gateway. Sorry, why I'm creating NAT gateway? We should have created. Sorry, and instead of NAT gateway, let us go back and create network security group because I want network security group first. Um, we can create one more, saying DevOps for all. You can create it in the same place. Info group, nothing to review, get started, create. Okay, so this is, network security group gets created. While it is all creating, and I don't want to waste time in understanding how it gets created and stuff. So let us go back here, and we will try and create a virtual box as well, and it's deployed anyways. It's pretty fast. Let's go and go to subnets, and sorry, associate the VNet, associate a subnet, say backend, and say okay. So I'm associating this particular thing with backend. So let me go back to VNet 2, and we'll see subnet, and we'll see this has been attached right now, so which is good. And now we'll go and create a server, and I'll show you how exactly you will be adding those network into this uh, demo user one. um, So here is a very interesting thing. Obviously, I've selected North Central. If you select any other South Asia and other things, there is availability zones and availability set, right? So availability zones are nothing but you have a region, Azure region, and within that Azure region, you can have different availability zones, and when I say within that region there is availability zones, this is very best explained in Azure fundamentals learning. If you're giving an example, or when you're giving an exam, right? So you need to understand this structure for sure. Um, yeah, so each Azure regions will have different availability zones, and you can see these different zones which is available, and you can deploy applications in both these zones and add a load balancer at the top to make sure that your code is available on the uh, both the data centers and other places. It can be on different places as well. So geographically and other things, everything is available here. I'm sure if you're giving Azure fundamental exam, this particular learn module is very important. And I'm going to anyway add all these learn modules in my GitHub repo, which you can access it later. But this is going to be one of the things. So this is for your scale perspective. So today I'm not talking about developer perspective. It's all about you know DevOps engineer perspective. So understanding of all these things is very important. And you can also have different set of images, different image size. You can have your own set of images, which is built images by yourself. You can select different sizes of the servers and SSH public key and other things. This is very important to log into Azure. You have to do with SSH and generating a something really new key, and all those things are very important to grow, right? So let me go back to the networking which we were discussing, right? So here, you know, why it is not showing, because switching this to, we are supposed to be not central, and then we go to next networking. Now I can select VNet 2. Now I can select backend as my one of the subnet, and I can add a public IP to that. This can be basic, advanced, anything. So this is again has a separate NIC's network security group, which we are going to add on top of that. Accelerating network is the hop is changing. So if I have to show you this, um, there is no virtual switches when you have when you use accelerated networking. There is no switches. It is directly going through the network cards to a physical switch, and then you are accessing from one VM to another VM. You can see this, right? So there is the accelerating network if you are using planning to use from VM to VM, right? So that is something which you can do. And then there is load balancing. We don't have a load balancer yet. I either ways, as I told you, our application gateway is a very specific to HTTP and HTTPS web traffic, for web traffic specific. It does a lot of other things as well, and Azure Load Balancers, it's specific to any traffic, and it is having its own flow and forwarding rules and other things which you can set it up. So we will, anyways, create one. We have one already. So I'm just choosing the same one. The virtual network is not the same virtual network. Okay, it is not the same virtual network, so I can't add it. Um, anyways, we'll worry about that later. So, anyways, so um, I will say no to load balancer, and you can go back here, you can go back here, you can tag, you can create, and you can view. Okay, so this is how you can create a virtual machine with all the details. So you can have scale set, application, availability set, and other things as well set for this, so that you can scale these VMs. And if you are adding these VMs to the back end of the load balancers, then you can definitely scale through the network which is there. Okay, so that's one of the thing which I just wanted to show you. Let me go back and show you the uh, complete diagram. In fact, I mean, it's just that um, I want to show you how exactly the whole thing will set it up. And each time you create something, there is a network watcher which gets created. I'm going to talk about a lot about network watchers when we do the monitoring session. It is basically a watching the network. That is something which we will anyways discuss. So we created a different virtual box now for the VNet 2, and we go and see the diagram now, right? It's going to be this way. So you can see there are subnets, there is backend, there is network, which is there, and then there is VMs and other things which is got added to it. And let me go back and show you, if I create a load balancer and attach that load balance to it, how exactly it looks. Um, Let us go to VNet 1 and go to the diagram. This is how it will look. And the this is VNet 1 with this I had already created before for the demo purpose. I have front end, I have back end. Front end had back end I have not created any resources. If there is a subnet This is a subnet, and this is network interface card which is attached to this. And for that, I have created a security group, and then there is an IP address, public IP address for this specific VM, and then there is load balancer pool which I have created. So I can add a number of VMs into this pool now for load balancers to reach out. So that is something which will be part of it. And then there is IP address, which is a public IP. This is a load balancer, which is public one, and that is where the diagram is showing as a public IP address attached to the load balancer. So if you see this, right, I've just skipped the part of creating load balancer because it takes time. So I just wanted you to iterate that it is very important from a DevOps engineer's perspective to understand the network topology, network, how these network work, and how these interaction work within the cloud ecosystem. And there are various other things. There is so many things. As I told you, application gateway is one of the thing. Firewall is one more thing. DOS protection is one more thing, which is you need to understand. And there are service endpoints. Peering. When I say peering, it means that how do you peer with one of the virtual network to another virtual network, where there is another service which is running, and you want to talk to each other, and how do you do that? And there is VPN, which is virtual private network as well, which is again, it's basically, again, you need to create gateway and then use that VPN. VPN is from between two different organizations, or probably not from same, I mean, within same organization, two different, you might have a on-premises servers as well. So how do you connect with those things? So those are the kind of challenges and other things which you're going to face as a DevOps engineer. Not just building this up, not just setting this up through a portal, but it was also about setting this up through automations. So when you are using different automations like Ansible and the Terraforms, how do you set all these up with automations, right? It's not just the diagram, which is it's not just going here and in portal and just clicking on some of these things. That's something which I just wanted to bring out in this discussion from a network perspective. Any questions you have, just share those questions before I move on to compute. Compute again, I have a couple of things in the compute as well, but a couple of things we have already covered in the compute, but I'll anyways talk to you about it as well, a couple of things. But any questions? Just type in the questions, or however it is. No questions? Okay, let me go back, and I know it is very dry subject. It takes a lot of things in there. Um, so everything you need to understand from a network perspective, I've almost covered everything here. Let me go back to compute. Compute wise, I'll show you very interesting. When you go to the Azure, um, sorry, I'll keep this out. Oh, I'm typing it wrong. Okay, so when I go to the Azure.com and go to the products, and when I go to the compute, there are, you can see there are a bunch of things which is there, right? And Azure Kubernetes service, we are covering next week in depth, anyways, and also we are going to cover it in the last session as well. And VM, almost we touched about now, how we can create VMs, how we can use it. I will leave the dedicated host. It's basically a physical servers which you can get it created. batch and other things, SQL servers, these are enterprise and you can just get created after the whole thing. Azure Spring Cloud, we did last week a session on that. There are videos. I'll anyways put it in the GitHub repo as well. But today, now I'll just focus on App Service and Azure Functions. What is the main difference between these two surveys, and when to choose one, and how exactly App Service helps you scale your applications, and how Azure Functions helps you scale your, help you to scale, right? So these are the two things we're going to see in this discussion. So let me go back to the creating a new resource. So we'll create an app service. Um, I already have one. We'll create a new one. We can call it as, this is again, we can, so this is very common. So whenever you are using Azure, it's very common, for everything you will have a subscription set up to it, and then there is a resource group is there, and you just need to select what's the name. So we'll give VS App 002. Okay, I'm not bothered about publishing app and other things, so don't worry. um, I'm just trying to um, see how we can use this thing, and I'm choosing a Linux plan, and then yes, create new plan. There is already a plan, so I don't want to use that. Let's create a new plan. Okay, create and then change it, because the one which I'm using right now is in the premium plan, which is the production plan. So I want to use dev test, this one, and then save it as of now, just to review and create. So we are creating an app service. Um, there are various ways to publish the code, right? Through your Visual Studio and other things. Not getting into the details of publishing code and other things which we did in my GitHub action series. So you can go back to my GitHub repo, which is there. Go to this repo, and I have the series with all the recording, with the references. So how to build, how to push, everything is available. GitHub from a serverless, from a ML, whatever it is. So there are a couple of things. Everything is available out here. So just make use of that. Um, Let me go for, and similarly, you will find for DevOps all as well. I'll just publish everything here as well for you. So don't worry. Um, it's been created. Now we'll go to the, let it get created. Once it gets created, we will see a demo. Pretty interesting. Right now, I'm in a dev area, right? It's not a production environment. And when it goes to production environment, how you can use app service. This is not in the scope of in the scope of the DevOps series which we are running. But I just want to show this because if you're building a mobile application, if you're building different applications where you need to have just the API servers running, or just the complete web app to be published, that's where you're going to use Azure App Services. So I just want to make sure that from a DevOps perspective, how to use the PaaS layer is something which I'm looking at, right? So when I go to this resource now, go to resource, you will see, it gets created, it comes up and all those things, right? So that I'm not worried about the code publish and other things. So I'm only worried about how to scale this, and how to use this and everything which it comes with insights and advisor and other things, app insights. We will go through in next session when we do the monitoring specific session from a DevOps perspective. So take a look at this specific thing, deployment slot, how you can configure it. So basically deployment slots are for the premium plan. So I don't have a premium plan. So when I go back and upgrade this to a premium plan, uh, I will get deployment slots. What is deployment slots? So very interesting, right? Because um, you can't just go and push the code into production. You need to have different stages for this, and I'm picking up these different stages and creating these different stages. And obviously you can have SSL terminations, backups, traffic management. This is one of the nice concept which is there in Azure. It basically it creates an intelligence from routing traffic between different instances. So if you have different instances, it creates different routing traffic for that. And let me go and apply this particular new plan which I've selected, which is in the production plan now. When you go for this production plan, um, automatically you will have deployments. Just give me, let it be created. Oops, no problem. We cancel it because it takes time. So let me show you the one which I've already created. Deployment slot. So when I create a different deployment slot, and I mean when I have an upgrade, I can add different slots. So I can add different slot with then different names saying QA environment, clone from staging or production, whatever it is, and then do this, right? So this is how you can clone stuff and use it. And while you create a new app server, right? When did you create new app server? You choose the Linux and you do choose the plan. What is the what is the server size? It has to be what is the output, input, everything you are choosing. So, but it is very different when you do that for um, serverless, and we will see that. So now what you can do is whenever you're releasing code, you can go to the QA, you can go to the staging, and then you go to the production. You can publish the code in this pipeline, and this is how you can use Azure App Service, where you have our application running in these different slots under the app service, and the same you have specified what is to be what is your infrastructure need to be there, right? You have chosen the infrastructure while creating, and you also saw uh, how it can be done. um, so now I will show you what is the difference between this and the serverless, right? There is a function app, and I will share the link for if you are interested in understanding the complete function app and how to set up a function, run a function first time. You want to run a function. Most of all those data is available on my GitHub repo. Again, if you go to those GitHub repos, you'll find all the videos which has been done. This is specifically I'm talking about uh, difference between the one which is the app service and the functions. So when I go to these functions, when I create function app, if you see this, I can choose different runtime stacks, and it has different triggers. And the most important thing is the plan: consumption plan, function plan, and app plan. So consumption plan is where you're going to use the consumption wise, whether there is data has been consumed, then only you have been charged. That is the pure serverless. And the moment you are going into the app service plan, the function app becomes an app service. The difference between these two are very very, I mean, it is more of the way it is set up and the way it is used. Say functions are triggered from an event, right? Functions are nothing but a serverless framework, right? It is using frameworks. It has a framework, and we also have a model, language framework model, which you can use. There is a lot of triggers which is available with the function app. So there is, it has a trigger. It is driven through an event-driven approach, and it runs only for 5 to 10 minutes only. The functions runs up to 5 to 10 minutes, where you can set the timer, and it runs on top of. I mean, probably you can also have asynchronous functions, but synchronous functions is only that much. And the same way, Azure App Service, it is quite different. Azure App Service, um, it's running basically running as a, as a whole, and you have the Linux plan which you have selected, and it has a specific area plan which is there. For example, if I go and select create um, new plan 2, and change the size, so you can actually choose how you want to run it. So this is basically you are choosing the infrastructure for running the application. That is what app service is all about. But serverless, you're not choosing it. When you go into the other plans, you don't need to choose anything. In consumption plan, it is not there. In I think in the some location which we chose this one. So probably we go to the Southeast Asia, and go there, and then also it's not there in some part. Uh, my company not selected for the region. So some of the regions you need to figure that out which region it's enabled. That those areas where you need to choose. Oh, this Linux plan I've chosen in South. Uh, Maybe that is a little. Okay, fine. So this is the difference between the function app and the app service plan. Any questions you have, just let me know. Because containers and container registry, we did it last time, and I will be posting that link um, in the repo itself. It is we did last time the complete, with the everything whichever we discussed here. Anything specific questions you have, please let me know. Today's session was this much, where I wanted to talk about um, the cloud, in fact, how the cloud is structured. I'm basically not covered a couple of things. One is database as a whole, because I'm going to cover that while I'm doing the whole thing, because I want to use only one specific database here in the cluster as a stateful. If I have to cover everything, then it takes a lot of time. Probably I will add one more session in the Azure Happy Hour, coming next Azure Happy Hours, where we talk about only database in Azure. That is something which we can do. But any questions, I'm happy to take while we take session, and while we take questions. I'm happy to share a couple of things which you can take a look at it. Um, is there any question? Can we create a virtual network which is combination of cloud and on-prem server? Yes, not a virtual network. Basically, the way you can do that is, let me show you that. Um, so what you can do is, you can create a virtual network which is connected to the VPN. There is a VPN which you can add here. You can see my screen. You are able to see my screen. So you can create a VPN and then you go to the on-prem. So there is a VPN gateway. So the gateway which I was showing you, you can create a VPN gateway and you can go back and uh, use on-prem, and at on-prem also you will have VPN gateway set, and you can connect to the virtual network through these VPNs. Yes, Dinesh, with the previous sessions details will be published. Sorry, I got delayed. I was not well, and there were so many things which were happening. I was on vacation as well, so I missed out. I will definitely make sure that not just the previous session, but all the related to the DevOps from a cloud perspective. I'm going to share all those links which I showed you, the Azure fundamental links, the where they talk about how it is set up and how it is done. Everything I will put it in that repo so that you get access to everything. So NAT, so Prem, the NAT is used for the internet access. Say for example, you have a VM. By default, these VMs are. Let me show you. By default, these VMs don't have access to network. Internet, right? So how do I give access to internet, right? So you just can't open your VM to the network, right? It's basically a security issue. So what you will do is you have your subnets, which is part of the VM is part of the any subnet, and that is actually talking to a NAT server, which is nothing but a NAT gateway. Um, and then that is talking to the internet. So this is an outbound access, not an inbound access. Inbound access is very different, right? Inbound access is to VM. So there is you are requesting something into the VM and getting data out of VM, then it will be a inbound access. But here you are requesting into the internet. For that, you don't want to expose your VM to the internet. So what you will do is you will create a NAT gateway on the subnet and then use it to get to your internet. Any other questions? Let me share a couple of things. Um, okay, so one other thing which I haven't shared is I am running the Cloud Skill Challenge for this DevOps series itself. When I go into the link, which is there, which is here, which okay, and I'm going to continue learning. So I have listed a couple of learn modules of Microsoft with all the details which is required for you to become a DevOps uh, engineer, right? It's not just become a DevOps engineer, but also understand a lot of new things, a lot of configuring, a lot of things which is available out there. If you see this, these are all learn modules with just 27 minutes, 50 minutes. So it is running as of now, and you can go and complete this in your own time. You still have a lot of time to complete it. It will be running. So a lot of things are being done here. So somebody was talking about Azure DevOps, and introduction to Azure DevOps has a lot of details around what needs to be done, how to set it up with exercises. These exercises have sandboxes, so you can also take a look at those. I'm going to share the link in the chat. Um, just one. Yes, I'm sharing all the links right away. Um, this is the Cloud Skill Challenge link which I'm sharing, and then there is do and GitHub link as well, because everything I will upload it on the GitHub. So do um, do keep that GitHub there. So that's one. And the other thing which I talked about was the Kubernetes for all, which is happening next week in next Azure Happy Hour. Um, I'll try to do. I mean, it's going to be everything hands-on. No slides, no diagrams. Let's go do a lot of things hands-on. Um, so here it is. You can do join us. Any more questions on Azure, on fundamental exam, on anything? Just do ask me. I'm happy to share those details. This is at the same time. Usually Azure Happy Hour happens every Friday at 4 or 5, depending upon the time period for the content. Join our LinkedIn group. Yes, we can do it for app service as well. The reason why I did this specific demo is because I'm going to use, let me show you here. I'm going to use um, I'm going to use VNet kind of a structure for the Kubernetes. So you might you will you will get confused if I use it directly. So that is the reason why I wanted to do this session so that you understand the different structure of the network and how to use it. Yes, you can use it within the structure, right? So definitely that is one thing which you can do. So if you go here, you can add different things to it. If you see this feature, VNet integration is off. You can on it. And then there is Azure Cdn for app service as well. You can do the Cdn part as well, which we discussed. So it's very simple. Create a profile and which one you want to take. I have already created a lot of things, so I just don't want to create this one. Um, and you just give the edge point. Once the edges give provided, this is the edge server, which and original host name is this, and edge server is this. Whatever name you give, this is where the caching will start happening. And when you access this, it will be cached. Everything will be cached here, right? And this will, I mean, this is the link you have to use for within your code, right? So that's how CDN will work. Yeah, any other question? This is how to archive the artifacts as Netgate packages. I'll have to check that out because I've not used those packages before. I'll have to check that and come back to you. Probably next session we will discuss that before we start the session. So any artifacts you want to archive, you can definitely use different kind of storages. And from a storage perspective, but if there is any specific thing for this thing, I'm not too sure. Blob storage is where I would archive, and there are other archive methodologies as well. If you're using different what do you call different um, Azure DevOps and other things. If there is you can host artifacts there itself and use it. I think there is an integration of Azure DevOps to the package which you are talking about. Let me check that out. Yes, correct. Right. And is it, mm, here you go. It can be done. Let me share the link with you. That's how you can do it. Any more questions? Abhishek, yes, we do. So definitely we need expertise in compute network and storage. See, two things. So it's not just about understanding how all these things work. As you progress in career, understanding of all these things becomes most important thing because you're going into the architect's role. And if you understand all this stuff, and you need to automate all this stuff. It's not like you have these portal and I just go and click on a couple of things and things work for me. That is working for me here, but in the real world, as a DevOps engineer, you'll be doing the other activities. That is the um, most important thing is to automate of all this stuff for sure. Understanding of all these things at a very high level as well, and also some of these things has to be in depth as well. Oh yeah, completely forgot about the job opening which is there. I will post that, and do attend tomorrow because they have their sessions. They are going to talk about how what they do in the role, and couple of demos and things which they do as well. So I'm just sharing those both the links here. These are the two openings. Just go and apply if you're looking for job, and if you think these um, the skill sets, the cloud and .NET skill sets if you have, and just go back and do it. And that's the link which Rashmita shared. Do join us tomorrow for that. Okay. Um, any more questions? Else we can no take a break and do follow us in Reactor, LinkedIn groups. Um, do take up the Cloud Skill Challenge. Go to the GitHub repos and follow the GitHub repos so that everything will be uploaded there. It's easy. No, that is 30 days to learn challenge. That is different challenge which you are talking about, Srini. But this cloud skill challenge is what I recommend most of the time because you know basically I've created these challenges with learning specific to the session which we are doing. That is the different challenge which is there, which is called as 30 days to learn. And you can do that as well. Just go and go to the 30 days to learn challenge, and you can take up all the learn modules which is there. But that is not specific to the session which we are doing. That is an open-ended challenge. But this one is specific to the session which we are doing, and I've covered most of these learn modules in these specific challenge. But do take up the 30 days to learn challenge. It gives you, uh, it doesn't give you free voucher. It gives you some, I think, 50% off. 50% off on the exam voucher, not free. I think so. Or are you referring to Azure Developer League? Are they also giving? Maybe, I don't know. 30 days to learn is they give 50% off. Azure Developer League might give you, just try that one. Oh yeah, now I got it. It's Azure Developer League. Yes, Azure Developer League does provide. I think the offer ends on 30th September. Oh yeah, the offer ends on 30th. Um, that's okay. You can still win. Let me give you that link. Let me give you this link, which is yeah, right. If you missed that free certification voucher, you can always get the 50% off voucher for completing 30 days to learn. Okay, so go back and you can do it. Okay, any more questions? Thanks, Amy. We are here to help you. Okay, Rashmit, I think there are no more questions. Please do check in if you're not checking. Any solution architect sessions planned? We are running a couple of sessions. We have workshops which were really very in-depth workshops. And I think if you go to the our reactor page, you can see there is a lot of other workshops have been planned. Those were all specific to architecture, and also hands-on architecture building. There were 4 hours, 3 hours workshops every Saturday we were doing, and we are going to continue that from probably next week. This week we don't have any hands-on workshop, but next week we have. I think you can just um, go to the meetup.com or the Reactor page and register yourself for that. But do keep a tab on all the sessions which is happening, because there are many things which gets covered from a solution architect perspective as well.
Do we
Do
have
we
any
have
more
any
questions?
questions?
Okay, I think we don't have any more questions.
Thanks for this
So
fast track course on Azure Fundamental. Yeah, it's really helpful for us. Yeah.
thank you. Vivek, I think you're on mute.
So yeah, sorry. I don't know. I could not hear the questions. Did somebody ask any question? There was some.
I think somebody was appreciating for such a nice session that you conducted
Yeah.
for us.
Thanks for
Okay.
fast track session on Azure Fundamentals. Yeah, it's really helpful. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vivek, for this lovely session. And thank you all for joining us today. Please feel free to do event check-in and share your feedback about today's session. It will help us to choose our topics better. Also, please visit our Microsoft Reactor Bengaluru meetup page for more upcoming sessions. We are having a lot of interesting sessions that we have planned, and it's all on the way. So please do visit our meetup page. Thank you all once again and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.